Hello and welcome to wonderful Japan. We've been here with Panasonic for the Lumix Summit, Global Summit for 2024. And this time, they're bringing us a new compact camera for those who are looking to improve their content creation game. So whether you're shooting at the moment on your smartphone and you want to step it up a little bit, improve your game, this is one to definitely consider. Or if you already own a professional camera, when I say professional camera, something just a bit more professional than this, and you need something else that you can easily just chuck in your bag and you're good to go and still delivers great results, then the Lumix S9, this brand new one here, is definitely one to check out. It comes in different colors. It's a full frame sensor as well, and it has a bunch of quirky features that's going to be really useful for content creators on the go. So talking about the design, it's very familiar in so many different ways, especially if you're somebody who's used the LUMIX S5II or S5IIX already. You will recognize some of the buttons on there and the placement and so on and so forth. One of the things to point out first of all is the fact that this doesn't come with a grip. So what I've got is this L bracket grip that's on there from Small Rig, which allows it to have a better grip on the side. Otherwise, if that's not there, it just kind of sits flush and is not the best for handling and using it out and about. So definitely invest in one of those and you're good to go. You have a cold shoe mount on here. Like I said already, it's full frame sensor. We have a regular controls on top, the dials for like manual, PASM and all that kind of stuff, on and off switch. Your exposure controls there as well, and a big red button for recording and starting and stopping recording, shutter buttons there. And on the back, we have this fully articulated screen, which allows you to, do those selfie, vlog mode, that kind of stuff. You can see what you're shooting. You can have different angles as well in terms of when you're shooting from below, when you're shooting from up top. Whatever you're doing, you'll be able to use this display for that. On the front of the camera, there's a focus assist light, which means it allows you to see where you point in and focusing on the right subject, for example. You can turn that off, which I always do. And then on the side is our ports. So we have a micro HDMI port and your USB-C ports for charging and transferring of data. And down at the bottom is where our battery is, which is also where you find your SD card slots as well. The battery is actually the same size as the one that comes to S5II. So you can use the same battery if you have one already, like I was saying. If you're someone like me who owns the S5 Mark II and you want something like this to take out and about with you, you can just use the same battery, charge it up, then you have multiple batteries to use on the go. Then you have your pads, your control pads and stuff on the back for your Q menu and display settings and delete, etc. And then on the left side is your mic ports. And this is a full mic ports as well. I know some people would prefer that over something that's smaller, like the Fuji X100VI or 5, for example. But that's pretty it. It's very minimal, it's very straightforward. And it comes in different colors. So you have jet black, you have crimson red, dark olive, and classical blue. And this is the dark olive one as well. The actual color thing itself, it's actually a material that's sort of like stuck onto the camera body itself. So if you do try, you could probably peel it off, but I'd recommend not doing so. But it's just so that you're aware of it. And that will probably wear off over time as well and probably look just a bit nicer because it's got this nice leather finishing on it, which I quite like. So yeah, but it's different. It's nice and colorful. You can pick which color you want and you can then start adding stuff to it to make it your own. What's great about this as well is it's compatible with all your L-mount lenses. So again, like I said, if someone like me who owns the S series already, you'll be able to use your L-mount lenses on this straight away. So you don't have to go out and buy extra things. They also announced 2 new lenses, a pancake lens, f8. I'll leave all information on the screen. And there's also a zoom lens as well that they announced. But I won't be talking about those in this video, just about the S9 itself. S90? No. We're just going to be focusing on the S9 itself. Perhaps one of the things that's new and different as well is that LUT button on the back. With that LUT button, it means you can quickly press it and access your LUTs and also access that famous real-time LUT as well, which is pretty cool. I like that they've added that there, which means that the headline for this really is it's compact, it's lightweight, and it's pretty much built for content creators on the go, especially when looking at that LUT button. That's something that content creators will use in terms of adding their own look and feel to this. And that will bring us on to another thing as well, which they announced, which is the new Lumix Lab, which I'll talk more about in a second, because that button has something to do with that in terms of what you can do with it. Another thing on the design as well is this no EVF on this, which at first it was a bit, for me, takes a bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, you don't actually need to have it. It doesn't take away from how good this camera is and the usability of the camera itself. I mean, this is focused at making videos and used for content creators on the go. You just want to be able to point it and focus and do what you need to do on the go. So I think not having the EVF there takes getting used to at first, but you get over it very quickly. So Panasonic says this is actually made for content creators on the go, but what does that actually mean and is it actually true? So Panasonic said this is a camera that's designed for content creators on the go. So you think of your competitors like the Sony ZV-E10 or is it E1, which is actually a top-selling camera here in Japan because most people want a compact camera that they can shoot with on the go. Having said that though, what actually makes this a content creator camera on the go? Well, first of all, you have that 24.2 megapixel full-frame CMOS sensor in there, which is equivalent to that of the LUMIX S5II. So we already know that this is going to perform really well. We have PDAF, so face detect autofocus, which also means very good subject tracking and active image stabilization as well. We have that real-time LUT function, which means you have that dedicated LUT button that gives you access to your real-time LUT and any LUT that you've downloaded and so on, or made yourself. You have a new file format as well, which is the MP4 Lite. So it means you can shoot OpenGate in 420, 10 bits, and that's in 30 frames per second, or you can go to 25 frames per second. You can record with this, but there are recording limitations where you can just start and stop again. But to be honest, if you're shooting on the go and someone who's gonna share short form content, for example, you don't really need something that's gonna record for way longer than that. It also means this can stay cool as well under pressure. It's not gonna get hot. I've been using it throughout this trip and it's keeping pretty cool. You have 5-axis Dual I.S. as well. So this is 6.5 stops. You have body I.S. as well, 5 stops, and active image stabilization. So this will compensate for any camera shakes as when you're out and about. So whilst going for a walk and you're doing those street photography or street video content, you sort of compensate for all that kind of stuff. And you also have high mode in E-Stabilization for video function as well. And this just makes it even more stable, which I barely use. I just use the standard stuff that's on there. Another new function on there as well is a hybrid zoom, which takes your current zoom lenses, makes it zoom furthermore, which means basically you're buying one lens, but also getting more for your money with that lens because you're able to zoom further than you normally would. When it comes to those real-time LUTs and what you can do as well, you can also layer it and you can change the intensity. And when you use raw processing as well, you're able to use all the settings in the camera to apply LUTs after the fact. You can adjust settings. You can basically edit your photos or videos right inside the camera, which is pretty cool. Oh, it's starting to rain, but we keep going. So let's look back at the Lumix Lab app that I was talking about. So with Lumix Labs app, it means you can transfer your files very quickly thanks to that 5 gigahertz connectivity that you've got as well and Bluetooth. So it's pretty quick. It means you can start to transfer photos, whether it's raw format or it's JPEG, wherever you shot, or even when you shot videos as well, especially in MP4 Lite. So MP4 Lite is what you have to use for this. MP4 Lite just means a much more smaller file in a way of the way that they've compressed it. It means you don't lose quality, but you're still able to transfer that file quickly because it's lighter, as the name suggests. So that's a really good function. So you can transfer your files over, you can do batch processing, you can add LUTs on it after the fact, you can edit as well. And what's pretty cool as well here is you can transfer the LUTs that you like, that you might have downloaded from the app, you can transfer it straight to the camera and start using it with your real-time LUT, which is pretty cool. You can also download content creators, so content creator LUT. So from your favorite content creators, you might like the look and feel of the kind of content that they shoot. So with that, you can download it over, transfer it to your camera as well, apply it to your photos or videos, and you get the same similar looks, and it looks fantastic. So the app is fantastic. It works with iOS, works on Android as well, and they're going to keep improving it to add more features. And I think later on, eventually it's going to merge with Lumix Sync app, but for now, still use Lumix Sync for your remote connectivity and stuff like that, and then download the Lumix Labs app as well for extra features, especially for that MP4 Lite. What's also cool, like I mentioned briefly at the start, is the OpenGate feature. With OpenGate feature, it means you can shoot in MP4 Lite, it defaults to OpenGate, and with this OpenGate, it means you can shoot using the full size of the sensor, and using that, you'll be able to crop after the fact to different formats that you want to use on social media. So if you're shooting wide 1 minute, you can then crop it down to then be able to shoot for Instagram Reels, for example. So you have your short form content at the same time being shot for YouTube, for example. So this is pretty cool. Yeah, I really like that feature because I get to shoot just that one piece of content in one go, and then I can crop it after the fact. In fact, if you check out my Instagram Reels, which I made for my trip here, you see that the whole thing is in Reels, obviously, but I actually shot most of this, actually all of it I shot in landscape and then cropped after the fact to give me that format that I want for Instagram Reels. So finally, how about the image quality and video quality? I think this performs really well, obviously depending on which lenses you use and aperture settings and all that kind of stuff. But generally though, when it's shooting, whether JPEG or RAW, the image quality are really good. It comes out really sharp. The dynamic range is really good on there as well, great shadows, and it just delivers what I've come to expect from Lumix from the likes of the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark II X. So that was no problem for me at all, no issues there. Stabilization is fantastic. Subject tracking is really good as well. That new hybrid zoom works really well without losing quality of what you're shooting. So this camera is a perfect all-round camera for any content creator out there because it just steps up your game from shooting from your smartphone to shooting with something with full frame that allows your workflow to be really quick as well. Back to that video quality, whether it's low light photography as well, whether it's a low light situation, it works really well as well. There's something that happened as well. There's a bit of banding when I was shooting in a different low light situation. But there's a way to fix that by using synchro scan settings in here. So turn that on when you're shooting in low light situations where you might get some of those flickering, or you might get those banding that you see. So when you turn that on, it fixes that situation, so you're good. It just allows you to dial down the angle, ISO angle to the minimal, so the minute numbers, rather than going from 160 to 180, etc. You'll be able to go to like 180 to for example, 178 or whatever. You can go to the minute numbers. So all round, I think it's a really good camera, and it's something that I'd recommend to someone who just wants something to chuck in the bag, off you go. It's about the same size as the X100VI and 6 as well. So it's really light. I think it's around 403 grams in terms of the weight. So this is just an all-round really good camera. There are things that people will be thinking about, like the EVF. It doesn't have EVF. For example, you need to buy extra accessories to the grip, for example, as well. Those are extra things you have to think about if that matters to you or not. But I think for those who this camera is aimed at, you don't have to worry about those things. You quickly get used to it and you're good to go. As for pricing, the recommended retail price is going to be around $14.99, which is cheaper than the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark IIX, but not by a bigger margin for the S5 Mark II. But I think that's just a real recommended retail price. So it could come down cheaper when it actually goes on sale and the retailer starts selling and pricing it the way they want to price it. So do look out for that. But that will give you an idea of the sort of pricing to expect with this one. But I think from my overall first impression, it's just become that camera I just pick up very quickly. I've not put on my Fuji X100VI while I was on this trip because I was just shooting everything with it. It's just so much fun to shoot with, whether it's low light, whether it's shooting subject, whether it's portrait, whatever it is, it just does the job really well. Now, I'd definitely recommend it. But over to you, let me know what you think if you have any questions. This is just my first impression using it for the past week or so. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys think as well. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions, drop them there. And I shall see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. I can finally get out of this rain.